Well, ChatGPT-5 is out and everybody's doing videos on it, and most of them are looking at the benchmarks and showing you fancy graphs and all of that. But what I thought would be a lot more interesting is for us to actually put 5 through the paces by giving it 5 different tests that your average business owner or employee might actually be using it for, and just see how well it stacks up against the previous models. And I'll tell you, these 5 tests, I have not run them yet. I'm going to be doing it with you, and we're going to see what sort of result we get. So the first one's a market research. So we're going to go out and look at a market that we don't know much about. Maybe it's we're just thinking about starting a business or expanding into a new market. And we're going to see if we can find vulnerabilities and areas where we might be able to provide value that's being underserved in that market. The second test is one for pricing optimization. So a lot of times when we're creating pricing for our product or our service, we don't really know what the optimal way to price the product is. And so we're going to see if we can get ChatGPT-5 to give us some different ways of maybe structuring the offer and structuring the pricing so that we can generate more sales and ultimately more money. The third one is one for like operational scenarios. So I know that tariffs are a big thing for a lot of companies right now. And when they're looking at price increases of 15, 20, in some cases 50%, it's crazy. So we're going to ask ChatGPT to look at some mock data of a P&L report and see if it can figure out how we could maybe save 15, 20% and not have to pass those prices on to our customers, those price increases. Number 4, we're going to do some marketing and content repurposing. So we're going to take a 20-minute video. We're going to take the transcript and we're going to ask it to create some content. This is really more designed to tell, is the content creation that much better? I know a ton of business owners and freelancers are trying to develop their brands online, and this is one of the things that they're trying to figure out how to do. And the last one is a competitive ads advantage. So we're going to go pull some ads from Facebook, and we're going to ask it to look at those ads and then find some way to position ourselves against them. So how can we be the ante to whatever they're selling and the way they're selling it? All right. And as I said before, I've not done these tests before. We're going to be doing them together. But before we get to that, I just have to let you know of some news. It's been out less than 24 hours, and security researchers have already jailbroke GPT-5, and it's not good. So the tests we're going to run are just out of the regular ChatGPT platform, right? We're going to send it some prompts and see what it'll do. If you are thinking about using this and deploying it in your workflows, or you're thinking about using it and you've already got systems built and you're wanting to upgrade to 5, you need to be very careful, because what they're saying in here is that they were able to use a couple of different techniques. The first was called echo chamber, which is a technique that kind of with narrative-driven steering to guide the model into producing step-by-step instructions for creating things like Molotov cocktails without ever issuing explicit malicious prompts. So they basically went in and found a way using some known techniques in order to get the AI to get around the security precautions that it has in place. And then it used another one in here, and I'm not a technician. I'm not a coder, so I'm not entirely sure about what they've done here. But they're using something. It's called a string join obfuscation attack that inserts hyphens between characters when framing a request to fake encryption challenges. And apparently this can be very dangerous if you run a company and you're using artificial intelligence and you have information that you want to protect. So I just wanted to let you all know we're going to be doing some very simple testing today, but if you guys are thinking about using this and deploying it in whatever AI structure you already have inside of your company, be very careful about that, because it's just not quite there yet, and there are some pretty significant concerns about security as it relates to GPT-5, okay? But here, let's just take a look at these. So I created a few basic prompts, and we're going to start out with the market research prompt. And the prompt just reads, you're a business strategist, research the U.S. solar roofing market in 2025, identify growth trends, top competitors, and 3 underserved niches. So we're going to try and find a way, whether we work in this industry or not, and find a way to see if we can get a competitive advantage here. So I'm just going to click run and see how fast this works. All right, so here we go. And this is looking a little like its old deep research report. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the way that they've laid this out. This took about maybe 45 seconds, maybe a minute in order to generate this response. So not bad. There's a little bit of a lag time here. That also could be everybody's using this model right now and testing it out. So it's having a little bit of trouble keeping up. But still, 45 seconds to get a report back like this is pretty good. Oh, it's still going. Right, nice. So let's just take a look at what it says. So market trends. They're expected to rebound modestly in 2025. Policy shock. The residential 30% tax credit now sunsets on December 31st, triggering an install before the end of the year rush. So, okay, we know that those are ending, and there's probably going to be a big push to get people to come and do this stuff before the end of the year. Solar roofing here means BIPV, shingles and tiles. Okay. Here are the trends. Tax credit countdown. Shift from panels to aesthetically driven installs. So I think what they're talking about is there's a shift in right now from putting the ugly panels on to using those tiles or something else that's a little bit more appealing. Manufacturer-led scaling. GAF Energy brought large-scale U.S. capacity online, positioning shingles and mainstream roofing. Okay. Financing mixed. Okay. Top competitors. GAF Energy, Tesla Solar. So we get a list of the top competitors here. Underserved niches. This is what we really want to get at. Design restricted properties. Okay, panels get blocked by heavy. Owners still want solar. Okay, so what they're saying is here that in a lot of places they won't let you put solar panels on your roof because they don't like the way they look. And so this shift to having the tiles or something that's more aesthetically pleasing could be where everybody's going to go and the market overall is going to move to. And what's interesting in here is it's using some of the information that it knows about me and my business. So my business I have a very simple model for marketing and growing a business, and it involves something called a solution stack, a lead engine, and then a conversion incubator. And the cool thing is it's kind of tried to give me some understanding in here of how I might position my model for growing businesses inside the solar market. Small scale residential developers and spec home builders. Why this is underserved. Builders want one trade simplicity and curb appeal. Okay, that's another one. Insurance driven re-roofers and hail and wind corridors. Roofing is reactive. Solar upsells rarely happen during claims handling, yet storm markets drive massive roof volume. So they're saying, oh, that's an interesting one. So what they're saying is, hey, we ought to be going out and trying to work with roofers when there's massive hail damage and the insurance company is going to come through and replace all the roof anyway. That's a unique opportunity for you to come in and say, hey, let's go ahead and put solar in as well. I can see another area in there where you like, hey, if your roof is about to go out in the next few years, you're going to have to replace it. That's a pretty major objection for adding solar to the top of that roof if you just know you have to tear it all down in a few years. So if you could angle it to know when those events are going to happen and those roofs are going to have to be replaced, there's an opportunity for you to gain a competitive advantage. That's not bad. Practical takeaways. Okay, we get the best of it, and then we've got a couple of articles here as well. So, all right, that's decent. It was a little faster than doing deep research, and we got a couple of good ideas there. Is it better than anything that they've had before? I wouldn't think so. I spent a lot of time in ChatGPT, and so I don't know that was terribly helpful. But let's try the next one. So the prompt I pulled was, we run a $2,500 one-day leadership workshop, suggest 3 alternative pricing models, upsell offers, and ways to frame them for executives. All right, so now before I put this in here, let's just think through what the logical ones would be. Because we don't really care we already know what the logical things would be if we're a marketer and we're putting out something out. We're really looking for angles that we wouldn't have otherwise thought of, right? So what are some pricing ones? Well, we could make it not just a one-day leadership workshop, right? We might cut the price from $2,500 to say $1,000, and get more people in on the one-day workshop, and then do upsells or give them the opportunity to have an additional, say, $1,500 or $2,000 package on the back end that's more one-on-one coaching or consulting over the next several months. Another thing we could do is we could create pricing tiers, right? So it's $1,000 for just the workshop. If you want the recordings, then you pay extra for that. If you want additional follow-on coaching or something happens after the fact, after you've tried to implement, because this is always the big struggle anytime you're doing a leadership workshop or any sort of coaching or consulting, is, hey, the devil's in the details. It's in the plan, it's in the execution, and that's where people really struggle. So you can offer them a little bit on the back end and say, hey, for an extra $2,000, $3,000, we can come together and work together. Another bonus I can think of is just creating a mastermind group. That's pretty common in the coaching and consulting space. Just saying, hey, every quarter we're going to meet, and you're going to meet with a bunch of other people who are kind of on your same level, and it's going to be it's going to be kind of peer run. So there's not going to be like a leader, but everybody's going to get together. And the ones I was part of, you basically had 15 minutes or 20 minutes to give your pitch and to ask your questions. And then the entire group got to answer and give you insights. And very valuable programs, by the way. But those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So let's see what ChatGPT says. All right, let's break it down. Alternate pricing models: $1,500 for the core workshop, $2,500 for the core workshop plus pre-event leadership assessment. Okay, so kind of the same thing we were talking about. If you want me to look at your stuff beforehand and kind of what your company's doing, and then a 30-day action plan review. So this would be what I was talking about too on the back end. $4,000 VIP, everything above plus the 90-day private coaching support. Okay, so we have it. This is tiering out different levels that you can be part of. Team rates. Oh, I didn't think about that. $2,500 for the first seat, $1,500 for every additional seat in the company, capped at $8,000 for up to 6 leaders. That's an interesting one. I hadn't thought of that, because if you're in a company and you're doing leadership, you probably want maybe all of your managers to be part of it. Retainer credit model. Company prepays $10,000 training credit for the year. Each workshop seat drops down from credit $2,500 per seat or prorated. Any unused credit can be applied to virtual sessions or internal facilitation. Oh, okay. It's kind of I don't know that I'd want to do that, but it might work in some cases. Upsell offers: leadership impact audit. This is kind of the same thing that it was talking about up here, where it's going to do a little pre-event leadership assessment, and priced at $1,200 per leader. Don't just train leaders, measure the change. Upsell quarterly executive roundtable. Invite only virtual mastermind for alumni that facilitate problems, $3,000 a year. Yeah, so that's kind of like the mastermind group I was talking about. Executive friendly framing. Performance lens. 1 day to align leadership behavior with strategic priorities and get measurable traction in the next 90 days. Risk management lens. The fastest way to prevent your next costly leadership misstep without sending people away for the week. Okay. Executives rarely buy training. They buy risk reduction, performance gains, and cultural alignment. So this is actually better than any of this other garbage. This little first statement here is that people don't buy training. They don't buy coaching. Like everybody else, they're buying an outcome, right? They want fewer problems. They want fewer HR issues. They want fewer lawsuits and sexual harassment stuff, right? They want increased performance and productivity out of people. They want everybody to be happier and enjoy coming to work every day, right? Because if they do that, they're more productive. So changing up the way you position the result will get you a better outcome. So that's not bad. And if you're not, like, I've been doing this for 15 years now, I kind of know, especially in the coaching space, I kind of know every way you could possibly position an offer. But if you don't understand that and you're fairly new to it and trying to come up with some ways that you might be able to entice some more people to come and join or make some more money on the back end, that's not bad. And it happened pretty quick. So I got to tell you, not bad. I kind of like the advice there. Now let's do the operational scenario planning. So here's last month's P&L. If our supply costs rise 15%, suggest 3 operational changes to preserve our profit margins. So yeah, I came up with this one because of the tariffs. So let's give this a try. And then let's upload some dummy data. So I have some dummy data here. Let me grab it for you. It's right here. So I came up with this company because I was watching a news report about a company that makes dog supplies, makes dog toys and leashes and collars and stuff. And they produce it all over in Asia, in China. And now they're looking at, hey, costs are going to go up 15, 20%. They're going to have to pass it along to their customers or they're basically going to go out of business. And so I just asked ChatGPT to create me a $10 million dog company that does basically the same thing and to give me some P&L. And so we're going to take that and we're going to upload that and we're going to let ChatGPT do its thing. So let's see what it comes up with. All right, so here we go. That took about 20 seconds or so for it to generate this. And again, when I look at this stuff, I'm looking at what are the non-obvious things. Because some of the really obvious stuff is going to be, well, try and cut your costs or try and trim your workforce or limit the hours or do a hiring freeze, right? These are all things that every business owner kind of understands this is what we have to do. Is there anything else in here that you're like, oh man, I hadn't thought about that, but that's a really great idea? So the first thing is restructure freight and logistics. How do you do it? Consolidate shipments into fewer, fuller containers and cut per unit shipping costs. Well, if you're not doing this already, you're an idiot. Why would you be shipping it in more containers than was absolutely necessary? Negotiate long-term freight contracts at fixed rates. Again, if you're doing serious business, you ought to be doing that already. Explore alternative ports or routes with lower duties. Okay, yeah, again, I didn't give it specific instructions that what if tariff prices go up, but that would be another thing that you would want to try and do. Tighten SKUs and packaging efficiency. Eliminate low margin SKUs that tie up inventory and slow turns. Standardize packaging sizes to cut waste. Yeah, so this is all stuff that Amazon famously did early on. Like lots of times Amazon, your package will come and it'll be a tiny thing in like this big box and you're like, why do they do it like that? Well, they do it like that so they know exactly how to fit as much product as possible in every single truck that they load up. And so, yeah, you could potentially do something like that. That would be smart. Relocate marketing spend for higher ROI. Audit campaigns for underperforming spend and cut them. Double down on your highest converting channels and retargeting ads. Negotiate annual media buys or partnerships. So they're basically saying cut out your marketing budget or trim your marketing budget to just the stuff that has the highest ROI. The problem with this, a lot of people don't recognize, it's very hard to measure this. Yes, if you run a paid ad on Facebook, you know how many people clicked on that ad and how many people immediately went and made a purchase. But it's really hard to tell is the number of people who clicked on that ad didn't go and then they came back later. And they looked at it later and they didn't get properly cookied, or they came back on another computer and looked at it, or they went several weeks, they cleared their cookies out. It's really hard to authenticate where these sales are coming from unless you're getting a direct click to a direct buy. If you run one side-by-side audit of the P&L showing exactly how these can change, could neutralize the $480,000 in extra spend while keeping the margin. Do you want me to run that simulation? I don't think so. See, I'm weighing this against 4.1, and when I originally did this, what I wanted to do was run them side by side. Run 4.1 and run 5 and see what the difference was in what they've created. The problem is they cut off the ability to use anything but ChatGPT-5 anymore. And so I can't really tell. This is kind of the level of response I would get from the previous models. And it's just, I don't know, is it better? Yeah. Is it so much better? Because again, all I see online are these guys who are talking about how, oh, this is mind blowing. This is insane. This is amazing. But when I come to use it to do practical work, what I find is that, yeah, it's okay. It's good. It's definitely an improvement, but is it insane? Not really. Okay. It's just decent. It's an improvement. So now let's look at marketing content repurposing. And what I'm asking it to do here, if we come back to our browser, is I say, here's a transcript of a 20-minute YouTube video. Create one LinkedIn post, one 1,500-word blog post, and 3 email subject lines promoting the video. So now I'm going to come in, just going to go to one of our previous videos. Let's just do the one on the White House AI action plan. And I'm going to upload the transcript. And let's click go. And that was fast. I didn't even have to pause things. So here's our LinkedIn post. The AI Cold War has officially begun. So I guess that's not really the title because it's, oh, this is for the LinkedIn post. It doesn't have titles. The White House has dropped it's winning the race AI action plan, and it's not getting nearly enough attention. In the short version, they treat AI like a new Cold War. Whoever dominates AI will dominate the world. So I like the bullet points in there. The stakes are enormous. If AI plus robotics displace 60% of the workforce over the next decade and we're unprepared, the economic model we've relied on for centuries cracks. I wish to God that they would get rid of the hyphens. Every time I run a program in N8N and I run a workflow inside of there or one of the other like builders that you can create agents and workflows in, I have the hardest time getting the agent to stop using these hyphens because nobody writes like that. Every once in a while you throw one in, but it uses them all the time. And nothing screams this was written by AI than a ton of hyphens or emojis. This isn't about politics. It's about whether the systems are we're building will make the future better or break it. Watch my full breakdown here and then the YouTube link. Yeah, I like that. That's not bad. I like the length too. One of the things that the old model tended to do was write really long LinkedIn posts, and that's really nice and short. Let's take a look at the blog post. Inside the White House's AI action plan, innovation, power, and the new Cold War. I mean, that's not bad as far as the headlines go. Buried in policy pages and press releases, the White House quietly released its Winning the Race, America's Action Plan. Most people haven't heard of it, let alone read it. But if you care about AI, the economy over the next 20 years of global politics, you should. Oh, I really like this. The quality of the writing has improved dramatically. This isn't just about another government tech plan. It's a blueprint for an AI arms race. The U.S. has declared in no uncertain terms that it must win the race for AI dominance economically, military, and diplomatically. It's like, yeah, why do you don't need a hyphen there. Just put a comma. You got all the other commas in there. The reason is clear. The country that controls the largest AI ecosystem will set the rules for everyone else. I love this. Jobs migration. So this is a great blog article. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but man, that's a pretty good breakdown. Now let's take a look at the titles. The AI Cold War is here, and the U.S. just revealed its battle plan. White House AI plan spinners. Those titles suck. Those are not great titles. I think the one that we came up with was, let me see if I can find it here. We came up with Cold War 2.0 inside the U.S. AI war plan. And that had a 94% success with vidIQ. So that one's way better than what they came up with. So not too great at subject lines, but man, the writing has significantly improved from previous models. So that's great. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to do a competitive ad dissection. Here are 3 competitor Facebook ads, break down their hooks, target audience, and how to counter position against them. So let's come in, start a new chat again, just so we know everything's clean. And now we got to go find some copy from ads. So what I'm going to do is go to Meta Ads Library. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to search for AI automation. So I'm going to choose all ads and, I've got it in there already because I was doing some stuff before. AI automation. And then I want to add a filter in here just because I want to make sure the ads have been running for at least like a month. Because if you've only been running the ad a couple of days, we don't know whether that ad's very good or not. But if there's an active ad running that's been going for a month, chances are that ad's printing money, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't be running it. So let's see what we got. Oh, the first one's from my boy Perry Belcher. Perry Belcher. I learned a lot about him from marketing. I was part of his mastermind group for a long time. So let's go ahead and copy this. Now, I'm not going to pull in the images. We're just going to give it the ads. So let's go add 1, paste, add 2. Let's grab another one in here. Special lifetime deal. So they're just going to give you a bunch of their garbage. I love how I'm so cynical. 100+ AI agents. How much is it? One-time fee of only $27. Yeah, that's got to be worth it. So we'll put that in there. And then last but not least, we'll do add 3. We'll check this out. Let's go find another one. That's a video ad. This one doesn't, that's for instantly. I want to find something where they're selling AI stuff. Here's one. This one says, no contractors, no door knocking, no relying on word of mouth, small business. So this one's for small business contractors, an AI thing for small business. So we'll paste that in there, and then we'll hit go. Man, that was fast. All right. So add 1, how many AI courses are you going to finish? So basically what Perry is saying here is you've got a whole bunch of these AI courses that you haven't got around to watching. And what you really need is something else to help you out. Position the offer as a shortcut to monetizing AI without the hard work. And this is something that is Perry likes to do. Perry's big on making it feel in all of his stuff like you don't have to do any work. It's super easy. All you need is the right system. The target audience, people already dabbling in AI tools or courses but not monetizing them. Likely younger professionals, freelancers, or small business owners who feel left behind. These are also people who tend to like done for you, free, money while you sleep, because they don't have a lot to invest and they haven't been burned by those kind of products. And then shiny object crowd looking for fast wins, right? So how do we counter position? I never have liked positioning like this, where we're trying to get the tire kickers and the struggle bus kids and promising them it's overly easy. And then when they get in, of course, they realize it's not. They feel cheated and frustrated. And it just makes them jaded. And if you're in an industry, you don't want that, right? So how do we do it? Flip the shortcut narrative. Call out how quick wins create easy confidence and why systems beat hacks. Anchor to real business outcomes, not just AI fascination. Most AI money-making hacks die after the hype fades. Why you need a system to keep making money when the trend is old news. Yeah, okay, I like that. So now let's look at our $27 deal. So we already know what this is kind of about. It's plays for the FOMO and the lifetime deal angles. So they're basically saying, get it now for $27 before it jumps back up to $1,000 or whatever fake price tag they put on it. Play the FOMO, leverage the pain of subscription fatigue, right? So this is another big one. People are so sick of paying subscriptions for things. And this one's just buy it once, own it forever. Target audience. Budget-conscious buyers, DIY small business owners, and freelancers. Again, these are not that there's anything wrong with DIY small business owners or freelancers, but these are sort of the bottom feeders in the entrepreneurial world. These are not business owners doing $1 million, $5 million, $10 million a year, and they're not the ones buying this. It's going to be these small-time guys who don't have a lot of cash and who are just on a wing and a prayer going to throw $27 down and hope they can do something with it. Counterposition. Move away from the tool war. Owning 100 AI tools isn't the same as having a business that makes money. Boy, is that the truth. Show hidden cost of cheap tools, integration headaches, lack of updates, no strategic support, right? So this is actually really good. This is exactly how I would position it. I would want to run and I would want to be counter to their argument. So I would say, hey, you've all bought those $27 tools. What you don't understand is that the real headache, the real cost of the tool that you're buying is not the $27. It's the integration headaches. It's no updates. It's no way to know how to model it for your business, right? There's no support behind it. That's Excellent. That's exactly what you would want the AI and a marketing assistant to be trying to help you work through. Position your offer as a tool agnostic. We build you a revenue machine first, then pick the right tools to fuel it. All right, that's okay. Then we'll take a look at the last one. Free website for contractors plus AI systems. Industry-specific targeting, contractors in the U.S., strong pain point, door knocking, relying on word of mouth, and no crossing fingers. Gift framing, not grift framing. I'm in a grifter mind today. And add urgency with the 6 spots left. Yes, there's always just a limited number of seats. Target audience, small to mid-sized contractors, likely less tech savvy but open to automation and value done for you over do it yourself. Yeah, they just want it to work. And I actually am part and owner of a software company that works in the construction industry, and I can tell you they are some of the most tech unsavvy people and business owners that I've ever met. Some of them are running very large businesses off of like pen and paper. They're literally keeping records just in regular spreadsheets. They have no CRM. They have no idea how to really track what of their marketing is working well. They do most of it by word of mouth and referral. And so getting these guys done for you rather than do it yourself is a big selling point to them. All right, so what's the counter position? Call out the free website trap. A free site without a real lead engine is just a digital wallpaper. And again, it's using my terminology, lead engine. Emphasize specialization on high value marketing systems, not freebies. Lean on results over gimmicks, and position your offer as premium, high trust, and industry proven, not a spot left or churn and burn. I do think there's probably a place where you can do both of these. It's premium, it's high trust, but because it's so premium and because we do so much for our clients, we can only work with a few clients at a time. And that makes sense logically. And most of the time, if it really is premium and industry proven, then there are going to be a limited number of spots because there's just not that many people who can do that, who can really deliver on that promise. Okay. And so then what do we get? Call out the gimmicks and the hacks, show long-term consequences of chasing, and introduce the alternative. I like this. I think this was great. They did a really nice job of breaking these down. And especially if you don't know anything about marketing and you're trying to figure out, man, why are these guys crushing it? And all my ads are continuing to struggle, or why are these guys raking it in and I know they're selling a garbage product? Man, how do I take advantage of that? How do I call that out? Because in any industry where you have people who are selling garbage and making massive promises that there's no way they can deliver on, you have a huge segment of your market that is jaded. And every single one of us has bought online promises and online products that promised us the world and didn't come anywhere close to delivering. And anytime you have an industry where that exists, you have an opportunity to sell against that. And not only does that automatically separate you out, so it's almost like you got the flashlight in the dark. Everything else, all the other ads kind of look and read the same, and yours reads totally different. It automatically gains attention. And then the second part of that that's so powerful is once you have that attention, if you sell against and you sell into that pain point of them feeling jaded and feeling cheated, and you say, hey, I bet this is how you feel. And I'll bet you got sucked in by all of this other garbage, the empty promises that people gave you. And you're like, yeah, man, yeah, that sounds exactly like me. Well, guess what? That's not what we do here. In fact, all that stuff's a lie. And here's why you're never going to hear that from us. One of the things I always told my clients was this is very hard. If you're trying to stand up any business, you better plan on working for 18 to 24 months without seeing any significant revenue. If you get lucky and you hit pay dirt and you start making sales right out of the gate, more power to you. Congratulations. But it takes time to build a business. And anybody who tells you that they can help you stand up your little business in the next 3 months and that you're going to be making $100,000 a year is flat out lying to you. And they are, right? Because nobody can make a guarantee like that. That's not how you build a real business. So I love this. So what's the final verdict on this? Well, I think in terms of writing, in terms of helping you diagnose marketing problems and struggles, this works really well. I think if you're having it analyze business reports, and to be honest and to be fair, we only gave it a P&L that we created online. We could have fed the AI a lot more information about our business and maybe gotten some better options as to how we could reduce our costs and not have to pass that 15% along to the customers. But I think based on what we gave it, it just wasn't that great at analyzing that data. And we could plug it into ChatGPT-5 thinking and see if we get a better response. But this video is already like 40 minutes long, and I'll just let you play with it. But I think overall, I'm really going to love this when it comes to helping me write blog posts and write, take other videos like this one that I'm doing and break those down and help me create content for them. That's one of the biggest expenses of time in my day, is figuring out what I'm going to write about and how I'm going to position it. And so I think for that, this looks like a real bonus. But again, just be careful. Don't start putting this into your company and into your workflows, because it apparently has some pretty significant security flaws, and you don't want to be giving it access to too much sensitive data. Okay. But anyway, if you like this show, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Share the show with somebody. Somebody else needs to see this. I try and do these differently than anybody else so that you guys get something a little more valuable and applicable to your life and your business. So if you liked it, make sure you share it. It really helps out the channel. And that means I get to keep doing these videos, which I love doing. So with that said, I'll catch you all soon. Be safe. Be good. I'll talk to you then.